are the best processors for budget, mid, high-end and extreme systems for mid-February 2020. Here we compare a range of processors in terms of performance, that's Passmark benchmarks and Cinebench single and multi-core, plus Shadow of the Tomb Raider FPS and its current Amazon price. Then we arrive at a single and multi-core price per performance, starting with the budget range. The best CPU in this category is the Ryzen 7 2700X, an 8-core 16-thread processor that costs just $165, and that is the best processor in this budget for a $600 to $750 system. What about the mid-range system? Well, then it's the Ryzen 5 3600X 6-core 12-thread that performs excellently in terms of single core performance, so it's a good gaming CPU while delivering a good multi-core performance as well, so good for gaming and in productivity tasks, delivering 155 frames per second for gaming. So again, it's a good gaming processor costing just $210 for a system build of around $1,000 to $1,250. So that's your best mid-range processor in mid-February in terms of price and value for money in terms of performance. High-end system, for a system around say $2,500 to $3,500 depending on what graphics card you plop into it, i.e. RTX 270 or a 80 Ti. So that's a $2,500 to $3,500 system. Again, it's Ryzen, who beat Intel by miles in terms of price per performance, especially in terms of multi-core processing. However, I know that many looking at the 3900X will be contemplating taking the leap to the 3950X. However, you have to consider that, yeah, you get 4 extra cores, but you lose in terms of single core performance, which is important if you're going to be using gaming, because it's got a lower base clock of 3.5 against 3.8 for the 3900X, which is, and it doesn't tend to turbo for most cores anyway. You won't see 4.7 in most cores, probably no more than 1 or even 2. So you can concentrate on the base clock. So for gaming, you're definitely better off getting the 3900X, which is the best value for money processor in my terms on this list. $470 and you get 12 cores, 24 threads, delivering 2926 on the single core, 511 on Cinebench, and 32,000 virtually on multi-core. That is by far the best processor in terms of gaming and productivity on this list. So should you go for the 3950X? Well, only if you're going to be using it multi-core heavy, like rendering for several hours a day, then it makes any sense paying $750 for that extra few threads, because in terms of regular usage you're not going to see any difference between the two. You know, in fact, obviously, given the better performance on single core, higher base clock, the 3900X will perform better on most games than the 3950X, because it's got a higher base clock. Yeah, you could overclock, but so you can overclock the 3900X. So in my opinion, the best high-end processor is the 3900X in terms of value for money and in performance in single core tasks, where if you're going to be using it productivity heavy, then yeah, the 3950X is better, but you're paying for that, paying 50% more. So in my opinion, 3900X is the best high-end processor in terms of value for money. What about extreme end of the system, the extreme budget, where you want productivity performance? Well, then I know many are salivating at the prospects of the 3990X. However, yeah, it performs, it's a monster of a processor, 64 cores and performance shows through on multi-core benchmarks. 24,000 on Cinebench, 82 on Passmark compared to the 3970X 17,500. But you're gonna be paying for it $4,000 versus $2,000 for the 3970X. So it's not value for money. 3990X is not value for money. It's too expensive. So for extreme process, I would go with a 32 thread 3970X. That is, and if you're going to do gaming, it'll be good for gaming as well because it's got better single core performance than the 3990X. As you see, 509 versus 494 and 2978 versus 2750. So it's obviously better for gaming than the 3990X and at half the price. But you're going to be, but for the extreme end, you're going to be using for productivity. So, and the 32 cores are ample for that as well. So that is the best extreme end processor. Gets a rating of 8.9 for a system around $4,500 to $5,000. So they're the best performance, price per performance, value for money processors for mid-February. And as you've noticed, not one of them is an Intel. Intel don't even come close. What's the closest that Intel's come is probably this one, the i7. No, that's not an Intel. What is it? There's none. Intel doesn't even come close. Like in the high end, the 9900K. No, you would not go for. You would go for the 3950X before you get the 9900K. The 9900KS is, you just can't get it. And there's another thing, you can't even buy these processors, these Intel processors. They're in so short supply, like the 9900KS. You just can't get it. Same with the 10980XE. You can't buy it. It's supposed to be, its retail price is supposed to be $1,000, but you're going to be paying $1,500, which makes it very poor value for money. Now, if you dropped it to 1,000, yeah, then it can compete. But you can't buy it for 1,000. That's the problem. Remember, these are the current Amazon prices, and the 10980XE, which has the potential with its 18 cores and 36 threads to be a good processor, especially given its performance on single core and multi-core. But you can't buy it for 1,000, and even then, it would have to be around $900. $950 to come out on top in the extreme end, but you just can't get it for that price. It's $1,500, which makes it poor value for money. Even the 2990WX is better value for money than the 10980XE, although that's got a low base clock and turbo, but it's 32 cores. So that, if the price keeps dropping for the 2990WX, you could look at an extreme system based on that CPU. Let's say if it dropped to 1200 or 1250, yeah, that would make it the best value processor, better than the 3970X. But it has to drop. It's not dropping fast enough to make it worthwhile. Plus, it's older tech, 2018. Maybe the dream processor would be the 3990X dropped to $2,500. And that would be the best processor on the market. But it's overpriced at nearly $4,000. So there you go. There you have it. The best processor in terms of value for money. Budget, Ryzen 7 2700X. Mid, Ryzen 5 3600X. High end, 3900X. And the extreme end is the 3970X at $1,950. If only Intel could get the price for the 10980XE down to what it's supposed to be, $1,000, then it'd be able to compete. Just compete. Even then it would be a toss-up. It would at least compete, but at $1,500 it's not good value for money. So which one would I get personally? Well, the 3900X is the one that stands out in terms of being value for money and processing power, especially given that it's got a higher base clock than a 3950X. And I know that, you know, multi-core processing, you're not going to be utilizing all of those cores most of the time. Only when you are rendering and basically not using your system, just leaving it to render. And that's basically when you're not using your system, when you're doing something else. Just let it render and you go off and do something away from the computer. So those 4 extra cores, they're just not worth it. You're losing performance in terms of single core. So if you do gaming, the 3900X will perform better, and in most productivity it will be, you won't be able to notice the difference, only in rendering that there will be different, a few minutes shaved off in terms of render times. So I would get a 3900X processor base system in mid-February 2020. It would cost probably around $3,000. So I wouldn't go for the RTX 280 Ti. I'd probably go for 2070 Super, which is about half the price, less than half the price of an RTX 280 Ti. I think they're around $500, whereas an RTX 280 Ti is around, I think, $1,150 or $1,200, something like that. So there you have it. That's the best processor for 2020, mid-February.